Welcome back to Black Girl Couch Reviews. I'm your host, Christina. We are back for a new show to recap and review. I'm not sure how many episodes this one has, but it's the Swamp Thing on the DC Universe TV app. It is the season premiere of this show. It's based on a comic. I have not read the comics. So if anyone is out there and wants to tell me what the fuck is going on, I will not hold it against you whatsoever. But this is our, third show on the DC app that they've released. I noticed that they put Krypton on as I was looking at Swamp Thing, and I was really excited about that. I was like, holy shit, I don't have to buy those episodes off of Sci-Fi. I hope they will be premiering those, which they should, on the DC app once that premieres in another few weeks. But this is, again, the first episode. It was directed by Len Wiseman, who has worked on Underworld and Total Recall, as well as Live Free and Die Hard. I've actually seen all three, so I'm familiar with his work. And it was written by Mark Verheiden, who worked on Fallen Skies, which I've also watched, and Gary Duberman, who worked on Annabelle. So we have some horror in there, we have some action, and we have some kind of in between working on this series, at least for the premiere. I gave this a 7.4 out of 10. It was a good starting off point. I'm not sure how I feel about it as a series thus far. It's only the premiere episode, of course. I was in, but I wasn't like, oh, this is my shit right here. There were a few hiccups in the premiere, but there were also, like, stylistically, the show looks great. The special effects, at first it took me a little second just to get used to seeing branches and trees come to life and not just be like, what the fuck? But definitely by halfway through the episode, I was really appreciating more of the style of the show than maybe some of the acting. That's where it kind of fell down for me, and just getting to know these characters. Of course, they're going to have to flesh them out, and we have hopefully at least 10 episodes to do so. But that's where I'm at right now as the series has wound up for me. So we're going to start with, I try to write down how I wanted this to go down in my recaps. And I think I'm just going to go in chronological order, maybe in time, depending on how they jump around the story. I might break things down more into character arcs, but it seems like everything kind of meshed together, so it makes more sense to go chronologically. So we start this episode off in the swamp at night, which is not a place any black person would be, and yet we have this dude we have one of my own in a boat with two other fishermen, and we don't know what they're doing. They're saying they're almost there, but we don't know where there is. It looks like they're following a checkpoint where they need to, at first I thought they were like doing some illegal fishing or something like that up that route, because he even makes a question like that. If I was going out fishing with dynamite, I'd be scared too. But that was a red herring, I guess, because they get to their site and they're dropping whatever they need, because they said this is something they've done before, right? Where they've left these packages in the water, so they're just going back to their previous place to drop this shit in. So Eddie is the one guy I got the name of, only because of Susie. But Eddie is in there, this black kid who has a laptop and is guiding them, and another guy. And as they get to their destination and they drop their shit in, that's when things go sideways, where the boat's starting to get rocked. And the one black guy was hilarious. He had me rolling, because he's like, tell me that was a gator. Please, Lord Jesus, tell me that was a gator. It was not a gator. We see the trees and the swamp come to life and began attacking them. And I don't know if this, again, I'm not familiar with the comic. I'm here because Jennifer Beals is in this series, and that kind of sold me. She's got a recurring role in here. And then someone, oh shoot, Will Patton is in it as well, who was in Falling Skies. If you're familiar with that show, those are people I know and I like. And there was another actress in this that kind of got me on board with wanting to see where it goes. I will recall that in some time. I don't think they've been introduced yet. I think that's I have to look it up, and I don't feel like doing that right now. So back to the story at hand. They get attacked in the boat. Really cool shot of after the one guy gets knocked in the water. Not Eddie. He was the last one standing. He gets knocked into the water, and he's like, where'd he go? Where'd he go? Then he tells him to swim over here. He's like, come on. He's like, just come here. Like, oh, okay. Like, you're helping me out right now. You didn't jump in the water to help me. You just like, I got you, but I'm not coming out to assist you. So just swim over to me. And he's like, hurry up. And he gets pulled under. We don't know what the fuck's going on. Black guy panics and grabs some dynamite, thinking that's gonna solve the issue. It explodes, but it did not. It causes an escalation of the violence, and it was a really cool shot seeing the tree branches come through the boat, through his freaking spine. Like, oh, I was like, damn, that got vicious real quick. No wonder they had that violent TVMA warning. But again, I love the fact that when we are on these network apps that we get kind of the more realistic, gritty versions. Like there are words like fuck and shit and damn. I wish the Flash did at the end of the season start busting out some of those terminologies, maybe because Arrow's going off and they feel like they need to step up their game in the adult section. But yeah, people curse. So when you're freaking out, you're like, fuck, oh shit, damn. He's like, what the fuck? Had me cracking up, but he got in the worst way possible, but it was actually really glorious. And then the last guy, Eddie, we see him in the water getting away, or at least we think he gets away, and that's how we start the episode, because it looks like he's about to get, deaded as well. We then go to a whole different setup where we're in a classroom, and I don't know why, but I was cracking up because the way the teacher kept saying, and he said this, and then all the students were in, completely in unison with their answers. It just reminded me of Rick and Morty when he's like, yeah, school is stupid. You go there, you read something, you just repeat, like 1 + 1, 2, 2 + 2, 4. Oh, that was all I was thinking about at that one scene. I was like, this is very reminiscent of that. But this little girl, Susie, that we are introduced later, who is Eddie's daughter, is looking all types of sick. She got green goo coming out of her nose. No one's like paying attention to. Even a few kids was like looking at her like, what the fuck? But no one said, hey, Miss Teacher, she looks sick. She gotta look at people's faces. They look at her like, I don't know what's wrong with you. She's trying to raise her hand, get the teacher's attention, but nothing is working for this poor girl. And she gets up dizzy as hell and passes out. And that's when the teacher gonna run, talk about, Susie, girl, do your job. Why you ain't paying attention to this class? I mean, she was not inconspicuously sick. She was very clearly not okay. But then we jump to the Congo, and we get our first introduction to Abby Crane. And we see these doctors, they're going in, they're trying to help this little boy who's got a huge ass machete protecting his sister. He's a badass, telling him basically get the fuck out. And they keep saying, we're just here to help you. We're just here to help you. He put that down. They got their biohazard suits on until Abby comes in and she takes over the whole hostage situation they got there. And she takes off her suit or her helmet anyway and talks to him in his language, which is important. You don't even know if that boy understands English. And says, look, I'm here to help. He puts the machete down, and it says that, you're very brave for protecting your sister. I get it, but I am trying to help her, and you're gonna have to allow me to do so. And of course he wants to know, like, okay, you're gonna take her, and she's like, no, you're gonna come along with me. You're not gonna leave your sister. You're gonna stay by her side, and I'm gonna help her, because I guess there's a what type, I don't know, I couldn't catch what affection it is, but it's fucking Africa, so there's probably a lot. But then as she's leading them out, because she picks up the girl, and then the other guy, you know, he wasn't even being I like that he wasn't even a dick about it. Like, this kid's throwing a machete at him, he's still like, take my hand, I'll walk you out. And that's when I was like, oh my god, it's Felix from Westworld. I need to get his name. What is it? Leonardo something? I'll get it next time, but I know him as Felix, and he was in Flash, so I'm glad that they give him some. I mean, we need more Asian folks working nowadays. We really do. And his name is Harlan. He goes in, and she's thinking she's about to get the lecture because she took off her stuff and could have been infected, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, no, I actually thought you were really brave and you saved that kid's life, but get tested because that's important. And we find out that Harlan is gay because he makes a comment of, maybe you should get us some boyfriends. And he tells her that they have a new case, and she's like, you're shitting me. It turns out this is in Marais, Louisiana, where she was born and raised. As they are driving back to Marais, Louisiana, Harlan makes some jokes about, hey, 1962 called and they said you can come into the 21st century. And this is a place that's causing a lot of bad memories for Abby, because we see her and whoever cast them kids, they ain't fucking high school students. They did not look like they was 18. When she said when we was about to graduate, I was like, say the fuck? That looked like a 12, 13-year-old little girl, but whatever. Because we see her on the bridge, and clearly that's her and someone else, and we know something bad must have happened. Because one, don't get on fucking bridges. And we see the swamp. It looks disgusting. I would never want to go by this swamp whatsoever. This is a back, water town, Louisiana. And they've been called because there's been an outbreak of an infection. Did they get to the hospital first? I can't remember. I thought I wrote this down. But yeah, no, she gets to the hospital. Yeah, she does. And she comes in and the doctor's like, I don't know what's going on. We have 4 people infected. She finds out that it's spreading, and they're from the CDC. So she comes in, takes charge, and says, hey, me and my team. And I'm like, is that just Harlan or is anyone else coming? Because that's not a team. But she says they're going to here to help. She's going to take samples, and she looks on little Susie, who they find out that her dad hasn't came home, that he picked her up for school, or she got picked up from the bus from school, but that's about it. They don't know where he is. He's out fishing, yada yada yada. She decides to go to the house. This is when we also meet Alec Holland for the first time, because he's just randomly going through people's charts like nobody's business. And she's like, who the hell are you? He's not introducing himself, only asking for more things and what he can do and what she needs to do, until another nurse says, didn't I tell you to get your ass out of here? And proceeds to kick him out through security. Harlan's like, who is that? She's like, I don't know. But she decides to go to Susie's house to see if she can find out any information. As she gets to Susie's house, she encounters the Popo, and his name is Matt, and he is fine. What was he in? I don't know what he was in, but he is all types of sexy chocolate, and I like it. So he's like, when they told me Abby O'Crane got here, I couldn't fucking believe it. So they're obviously childhood friends, but not too friendly, because she's putting all of her girl parts onto Alec. I don't understand, but that's where they're going with this. So she goes into the house. They're investigating. She asks if there's been any, has DCS been here? Any complaints? And he's like, no, there's been no complaints. And she says, around here, that makes you Father of the Year. I guess her mother is dead. And my question is, what happened to Abby's parents then? Because I thought surely she was not coming back home because she didn't want to deal with her own family, but we had no introduction to them. So I wonder, with that comment, if maybe she had a father and he was just a deadbeat dad. And they go into the house and they're yelling out. She's like, Mr. Coyle. And then Matt just goes, Coyle. that was definitely a black response that I appreciated. Because he's like, boy, if you up in here, you better get the hell up out. Come on now. I ain't got no time. What you doing? And there's swamp shit everywhere. We don't know what's going on. It's like on the walls, but it's not sporadically everywhere. So it's kind of like someone was touching, spreading the swampness, but we didn't find out why until we start hearing this sound in which they're like, hey, Coyle, Matt Coyle. They keep screaming for it. They get to this door. He takes out his gun, Matt that is. And as he opens the door, you see someone sawing in a jacket. And they're calling Coyle, but he's not responding. We find out it's Alec once again because he can't stay out of shit. And he's collecting a sample and he didn't hear them calling because he had headphones on. Now, this was stupid to me for several reasons. One, especially after he said, guys, I don't think that's the problem. Did he know that holy shit, Eddie was there? Because when I saw Eddie, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ! There was no way in hell I would be minding my own business while there's a dead guy with trees out of his mouth. But the visual was awesome on it. Scared the shit out of me. But he's looking in the... How he got home, I do not know. Like, dude, did you... How did he get home? I don't know. But I guess was staring in the mirror was his last thing. Or trying to take some pills, maybe? Because she saw an empty pill bottle. So did he like kill himself? Like he was infected with it, but then he I don't know. Was he maybe going to be the first Swamp Thing, but he did something to stop that process? Sorry, I just dropped my pen. Interesting. So yeah, Eddie is disturbingly and disgustingly dead. And Abby's like, the fuck. Matt's like, the fuck. And Alec's acting like he just saw that shit, and I don't believe it. And Alec. So Abby is like, you ain't gonna arrest him after, Matt calls for backup and they're taking statements. And he's like, well, he did break and enter. And she's like, oh, he's just a baby. I admire his tenacity, but he's not gonna arrest him. He lets him go, and Abby that is, points out that you're not a local. What are you doing here? You seem to be every fucking where. What's your deal? He says he finally introduces himself as Alec Holland. What did he say? Like the president or something? I didn't get the reference. Oh no, like the state. And he says that Avery Sunderland had hired him to find out all about the fucking crazy that's going on in the swamp. And I'm like, dude, you could have led with that in the hospital. That would have been a thing. But then we find out some shit later that I can understand now why he didn't leave with that, because he was fired. Anyway, he says his lab is on the water and that you need to come with me, as he had told her earlier, that you're not going to find out what's happening by being at the hospital. You need to come with me to my lab and look at all my cool stuff, and that's going to help you more than spinning your wheels at the hospital. She agrees because she's ready to be charmed, and they head out to his little boat or lab thing on the swamp, which is actually really cool, except it's on the swamp. And he tells her when they get to the lab, he has this nice little dog in there, which, we all love dogs. And she clearly falls in love with this dog. She's like, later on, she's like, it was enough just to come back for the doggy. He starts to show her that he's been collecting samples from the swamp, that there is a pathogen that they can't find. This is science talk. All I know is they need to find out what's happening with the pathogen to help find a cure for the people at the hospital. And she deduces that this is why he was at the hospital, trying to get a sample from Susie so that he can compare what what happened to her with the research he's found. He is a biologist, so it's not like he's just some random weirdo with no degree. Just loves plants. And he tells her that for 7 months he's actually been studying the swamp, and he shows her the green Spanish moss, and he's like showing her this experiment where he's like, the swamp water is here, and then at the bottom there's like some green shit. I don't know what the hell that is, but it's an accelerant. So he uses that on the green moss, and then that shit starts to mutate the fuck out. Now I'm guessing, and we'll get there eventually, that the Sunderlands are somehow behind this. They have to be, because the swamp is their livelihood, and someone's clearly doing something to get the swamp, because it looks dead and terrible. So they're probably trying to rejuvenate it by adding things to it that they really shouldn't. So the thing like fucking mutates out the fucking world. And he waits entirely too long to gas it, but Abby is impressed by the results that he's found. And later on, Alec goes to a Marais town meeting where the doctor is there trying to calm everyone down. But this dude in the back, what is his name? Leon? He is not for this life right now. He's the speaker of the negative Nelly side, where he's like, this is some bullshit. The swamp is getting revenge for us dumping. And Avery is like, nah, that's some bullshit. That's not the truth. And Leon's like, this is our livelihood. We live off of the swamp. We cannot afford for our lives to be turned upside down by it being deteriorated, whatever the case may be, or this, the sickness that's infecting everyone. And Avery says, let the doctors work. And then Leon's like, Avery, I ain't got no money for no doctors. And Avery's like, I'm rich, bitch. He said, you could go ahead. You could come to me. And I'm like, what? And then Leon, who I really need more of this character, is like, bitch, you could be putting that money into the town and not your fucking lab while you talking about coming to me for your doctor's bills. I ain't got no time for that shit. If you want to help, you can go put some money in this decrepit town that still looks like 1962. And of course, Avery cops up like, hold on now, hold on. His wife looked like a bitch, and even when we meet her later, like, I'm supposed to feel something for her, but she feels like a bitch. And he says, look, the swamp took my father, so he throws the guilt trip on him right there, and my daughter too. Aw, shit. And says that, I get it, you're panicked, but this is my livelihood as well, and I want to make sure, like, this ain't the first time everybody got sick. This is not the first time that there's been a pandemic, blah, blah, blah. And gives them the mayor's speech. I don't even know if he is the mayor, but he definitely seems like the big businessman that everyone kind of sort of has to depend on. So what he says goes. And he tells them basically, settle down. We'll fix the problem. We'll get the people from stop being sick. Take your asses home. And of course, the one doctor after that is so happy that no one says anything after this, that he's like, okay, meeting dismissed. This is when Alec goes up to Avery and tells him about his research. And Avery's like, boy, I'm surprised to see you because I dismissed you 2 weeks ago. And Alec is like, is that what you did? Now, I don't know if I like, I'm really glad that there's a different actor, I should say, playing Swamp Thing. Because I was not buying Alec so I did not like the character. I'm sorry, maybe some people did. I didn't like his sandals. I didn't like his calves. I didn't know why he had them fucking shorts on. I didn't like his face. I didn't like anything about his character. I'm sorry. I was supposed to be endeared by him, but I wasn't. He just seemed, in his off-sense humor, because she said, Abby, that is, that you must not be around here by not only the flip-flops that you have on, which are, what did she say, like some designer flip-flops, which, again, if you're out in the swamp and you got designer flip-flops on, I'm already thinking some type of things about you. Like, bitch, this is not the day of the time. Put some damn boots on like a like a smart scientist will do. Who goes and I didn't like his okay, we'll go there when we get there. about his story, but I was not feeling Alec. And it really sucks that I guess he's going to be sort of kind of the Swamp Thing, even though a different actor's playing him, and thank God a different actor's playing him, because I would not have been able to see any emotional connection to him. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to, but it seems like I'm supposed to. And we get the little background information that there was an epidemic in 86 and in 92, which are recent years. And he says, I've got some more information about this. And he says, well, we don't need to spread any panic. And he's like, well, no, we don't need to spread another fucking epidemic is what we don't need to do. And kind of says, I got it from here, and dismisses him. And he's like, sure thing, boss, because you're not really my boss. He's caught up in what he's doing right now. And that's when we get the little bit of info too, that he's like, I hired you to give you a second chance. So then we go back to the hospital where Abby is doing the autopsy on Eddie, which is disgusting. And Alec comes in like, I'm gonna let you do that. She asks, have you ever seen a autopsy before? And he makes a comment like, yeah, I saw one on an alien once, but I'm pretty sure that was fake. Again, I was like, am I supposed to laugh at this? Because I'm not. I don't find anything about you attractive or charming, which is too bad. But Abby's licking up the charm sauce, and she gives him a sample that he can look at, and immediately there's some mutation, and then shit started popping off. This is the one jump scare that got me, because let me tell y'all something. When Eddie's chest burst open,
hell to the no, to the no, 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 hell no, no, to the no, no, hell to the no, no, to the no, 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 hell to the no, no, to the no, no, no.
Being thoroughly transparent, I don't fucking do scary. So that scared the crap out of me. I was like, oh no, oh no. Oh no. But of course, when Abby finally sees this, I don't know how they didn't hear that shit moving, but they was engrossed. She has at least the appropriate reaction. She's like, oh fuck no. She screamed like bloody murder. That would have been me. Like, oh no, what is that? And it's interesting because as this thing is being disgustingly Eddie, again, the special effects on it were great, and the makeup job. Susie wakes up from her half-dead coma because all the other patients seem to at least be stabilizing, but Susie is not, because she's 9 years old. And immediately Alec says that, it's not your fault, which I don't know why she would think so, but apparently she just got some misguided guilt about little girls. And Susie, that is, takes off all of her medical stuff and equipment. Now, how the hell she get down there with nobody from the hospital noticing? The alarm bells didn't go off. This is when I was like, plot holes that I could drive all the way through. But I do think there is some relevance to the fact that she woke up just as it was, I guess, coming out of her daddy's body. Or she has some connection to it, maybe, because we saw the swamp's shit or whatever on her bed pillow as well, and it came out of her mouth, which was gross at school. So she goes down there and she's like, Daddy! And promptly falls out. And Abby is trying to get to her. She gets snatched up too by the branches or whatever, and how did she it just let her go? Oh no, that's when Susie came in and distracted it. And then she's able to get over to her, picks her up and runs off with her. And then Alec, thinking smart, takes the alcohol and puts it together and lights a fire, makes a trail, lights a fire, blows up the whole, or sets fire to the whole thing, and then fire extinguishes it out so it doesn't take out the whole entire building. And Susie is a code blue. She's taken back upstairs and given CPR, and then miraculously wakes up and starts coughing. And she's like, okay, I gotta go somewhere. You gotta take care of the situation. And And she's freaking out in the stairway. Now, did they tell anybody what really happened? Or is just no one asking those type of questions? Like, how did the body reanimate with trees inside of it? No, that seems to have been just glossed over. Even though we did see some of the stuff in the background was cracking me up even more. Like, because in the classroom, you saw a little kid, like, poke someone. And in this scene, you see this black nurse, like, telling all the business. And I'm like, but do you know anything? Do you know anything, ma'am? But of course, this is another getting to know each other better scene for Alec and Abby. Oh God, they both have A names. Like, why did I just notice that? And he sits down next to her. It's like, are you okay? And at least she didn't fake it off. She's like, hell no. Did you see what the hell happened? And he tries to tell her she has a piece of glass, but she just keeps looking at him like, what? I hate that. If someone's like, you have something right there, I'm going to start touching right there. I'm not going to keep staring in your eye or in your mouth going, you speak the English? No, I would start looking for whatever the fuck he's talking about. But it's just to get him to put his hands on her and, ooh, the spark of attraction between us as our bodies touch. And he gets a piece of glass off of her, and she's like, I got to go somewhere. And he asks, does it involve bourbon? She's like, well, yeah. This is when they go out to this... I guess like all this is on the swamp, which cracks me up, but it's a part of the town, of course. And they drive out to this bar, and we meet Liz Tremaine, who is a journalist slash kind of barkeeper, because she's helping her dad. So we're getting introduced to more of these town people. But then as they're going into the bar, he goes, Alec, he's like, creepy lady, 12 o'clock, and Abby says that Xandu, I'm surprised she's still here. So definitely some voodoo shit. She's a voodoo priestess that we gonna be getting in the Bayou. I'm appreciative of that. I learned something about voodoo the other day that is kind of based on Catholic religion, and it's born in slavery. So that's, I need to get some more information on that because I did not know that. And as they go in there and we meet Liz Tremaine, you know, she says, it's surprising you've come back, yada yada. She starts asking her questions about the town, like, have you heard anything? And they're like, yeah, we heard about what happened at Eddie's place. And she's like, how do you know that? She's like, bitch. We got like 250 residents here, if that. You need to stop acting like gossip don't come around. And she just makes a comment like that. The fact that no one's saying anything about what happened with the people out there is even more concerning, because all we do is gossip, and everyone's tight-lipped about the swamp or something to that effect. And that's when Alec comes back like, oh, so you're the journalist? Because he's looking at her like, I thought you was the barkeep. And she's like, yeah, I work for the Echo. And he says, no offense. And she says, some taken. And I was like, oh, I like her. And I need to start using that. Because that's the truth, though. You don't be like, oh, none taken. Like, no, bitch, you kind of sort of offended me. And now you're trying to talk about no offense. But she tells her that, hey, some people have been paid to go out and on boats and shit. And Eddie and his other person went AWOL, or his assistant or whatever. And they were going out to Skeeter's Cove. This is when she's like, oh shit. Abby, 10 o'clock or whatever, and Maria comes in. She's a straight up bitch. She's like, don't speak, I'm not done talking, keep your mouth shut, I don't want to hear about why you here. She's like, I'm here to help. Abby sits there like, just takes it, because clearly she thinks she killed someone. I can't say I hate, it's just a typical trope of shows over and over. It's like, oh, I feel so guilty that I've all of a sudden in my mind decided I am the cause of. If this girl must have been 18 if she's about to graduate, at least 17, about to go off in college, whatever the case may be, she a grown ass woman. I'm not even trying to hear it. Unless you put your hands around her throat and strangle her out, you didn't kill nobody. And I don't like when, I guess, parents need someone to blame. I can't act like I've ever been in that situation, but she was just too much, just all the way too much for me. I was like, this bitch would have got socked in the mouth. Like, I get that you upset, ma'am, but that was like 19 years ago. Can you fuck off? Or at least give me some respect even though she's like, I looked up the CDC and they have 5,000 workers, and out of 4,000, that part was kind of funny, because she's like, out of all the people they sent you, like, out of all those fucking people, you just happen to be the one. She's like, because I'm the best at my job. And she's like, whatever. While you was in freshman year, I was in my daughter's bed and wouldn't get out of it. When you in sophomore year, I did get out of my daughter's bed, but just to hop into a bottle. And the worst was your senior year, because my husband was about to divorce me because I become an alcoholic. And I blamed all of my problems on you, because when I asked my husband, how does he be so strong? Basically, we need to put all our hate into someone, and you're that person. Is effectively what she said. And she says, the only reason why I'm not beating your ass right now is because I need you to save that little girl Susie, because apparently I care. And once she's saved, though, get your ass gone. And then she says, promise me you'll save Susie. And then she looked like, Abby looked at her like, really, we gonna play this game? She's like, no, promise me. And she's like, I promise. I would have told her to kick rocks, but that's just me. And then she leaves. And of course, Alec has been watching this with intense curiosity. And he's like, are you okay? She's like, come on, we need to go to Skeeter Cove. And I'm like, at night? We can't wait until the morning? Whatever. They take a boat out to Skeeter Cove, and they find Eddie's boat still in the fucked up position it was at. And they find the laptop, which they're like, okay, this will help us figure out what the fuck is going on. But additionally, they find some underwater release mechanism. And they bring all of this back to their lab. And as they're waiting for the results, that's when, she's cozying all up to the dog. He gives her a towel. I'm like, I need a shower. It's been raining. And she says that I have a confession to make. I Googled you. And she shows him what she found out. And his only response I liked was, you showing me that like I've never seen it before. And it turns out that Alec manipulated some data, and he's a disgraced scientist because he manipulated that data to prove his point, even though he goes, well, it didn't change my results, or some such that he's trying to. I looked at him so sideways. I was like, so what you're trying to say to me is that you cheated, but it's okay because my results were still right? What? No, it's called don't manipulate your fucking data, asshole. I don't know where they were trying to make me feel sorry for him in this whole thing, but I was like, I don't. He's like, I just want to be known for my work. Yeah, so do most egomaniacs. What are you talking about? Oh, I did not like Alec, and but his whole backstory did him no favors. And that's when she decides because she's like, can you just give me something to drink? And because she's talking about how they have all this shit in common, and she starts drinking straight from the bottle, which I did appreciate from that. Once that night, I would have been like, no, we drinking we don't need glasses. Drinking straight from the bottle. And she starts to talk about how she had a friend that was Avery and the Sutherland's daughter, and that they were close like sisters. She was close with the parents until 2 nights before they graduated. She says she kills her because the results beat, and you think at that point she's gonna be like, yeah, I'm done with the story. And she tries to push it off, and he's like, no, tell me the rest of that story. And he doesn't even say anything, ask some additional questions after she said. He's like, I would have been like, so you put your hands around her neck, explain further. Sounds like you just confessed to murder. But she's like, nope, the results, I can't talk about it anymore. And so he goes and checks those results, and that's when they find out it's a biological accelerant that someone has been dumping into the swamp all over the damn place, and it's probably what's causing people to be sick. So he's gonna go and fish out more of those boxes, hoping that may stop the spread of the infection. And he leaves her there. But before he goes, he asks, why did you Google me? And instead of her saying, because I want your dick, she says, I'm sorry, I don't have any results for your query. And he's like, oh, that's nice. She calls Harlan and lets her know that what is she going through the laptop or going through the results to see how that can help them find a cure? Because Harlan says the adults have been stabilized, but it hasn't stopped whatever has caused them to get sick in the first place, that they're still dying. And then we cut to Alec out in the boat picking up the boxes. He finds another one, and a light gets shone in his face, and he's like, hello, just like a white person. I'm sorry. First and foremost, if I know people have died already, there's no way I'm not having a gun or some police escort. But of course, he's walking around shady as shit because he really is off the case and don't have no support from Sutherland anymore. Is doing everything under the radar. But at least she could have, I don't know, I would have said, hey boo, since we're all close right now and you're actually the only person that's believing me, how about you get your friend to escort me out here? But I was still surprised. I was like, damn, he got shot right up in the chest with a shotgun. And they trying to make me honestly believe that this dude would have still been moving. A shotgun. Like, do you know what shotgun blast shots do to you? Like, he shouldn't even have had a back. But whatever. He gets shot twice in the cheek, and I'm like, oh fuck, he's down. And he starts trying to, I guess, well, maybe his body was in shock though. I can believe that. Lemia have to let me know on that because she's all the nurse's shit. Because your body can still respond. But it seemed like he was doing way more than was, like, I would have expected him to try to go in survival mode, get away. So he's trying to start the boat. But then the person that's like shot at him stands up with a crossbow with an explosive on it, and then shoots that at his boat and blows the whole fucking thing up. Because homegirl Abby is at the lab, she completely hears what's going on and gets in her boat to investigate. What's crazy is after the explosion, you see Alec still half alive in the swamp, swimming. That's where they missed me. I was like, ain't no fucking way he would have been swimming. Just no. But he gets pulled under by the swamp, and they start going into his eyes, not his ears, but his head. Like, they're completely infesting him. And I'm wondering if they had tried to do this earlier. I don't know, because we saw, at least a little bit later, when Abby gets there, she finds the wreckage, the explosive, and of course the swamp starts attacking her, and she gets knocked out into the water. And they seem to take down the boat. That seemed to be their primary target. And then she gets to shore, kind of. But then she opens some branches and she finds the black kid. And I'm like, so why didn't the swamp do it to the black kid? See, this is why I, plot things sometimes. Just, if they just try to pick a random ass person to turn into the swamp thing, what's their selective process looking like? That's all I want to know. Why did Alec? Because he's a biologist? Because he's got a good heart at the end? I don't know. Anyhow, just as she sees the dead body of the one dude, she turns around and sees a hand, what appears to be a hand anyway, coming up through the water. But no, then green head follows with red eyes, and she skedaddles. She gets the fuck out of there. And that's our first real look at the swamp thing, and he kind of half passes out. And that's where we end the episode. So as far as a premiere goes, like I said, it was okay. I have not looked at the next on, so I'm just along for the ride. I will do the entire series because it's DC and I'm interested in some things. Doom Patrol, I just didn't get into it. I don't know. I think it's because they changed the cast so much, it bothered me. And I don't think, even with me now, having the app for this next month and a half, that I will get over to it. Maybe. Probably not. Especially since Krypton's coming out, and I got enough on my plate right now. And then Lemia's trying to get me to watch All American, and I don't know if I can do it. I'm going to try, though. But it's on the list. So if you want to send feedback for this episode or the next coming up episode, or just to give me some information on the comic, who Matt Cable is, that name rings a bell, because Lucia Cable is Jennifer Beals, and we haven't seen her yet. There's voodoo involved. There's definitely a lot of balanced characters, a lot of black people on the show, so of course I'm supporting it for that reason too. You can send that to blackgirlcouch@gmail.com. You can find this podcast on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, and Spotify at Black Girl Couch Reviews. My social medias will be below. Until next week, peace.